What's up and welcome to the video. My name is Charlie and this behind me is my 2022 Porsche 718 Spyder. Now I recently made a video talking about 5 of the biggest reasons why I sold my C5 Corvette in order to buy this one Porsche 718. And I had so much fun making that video that I thought it would be fun to make another video talking about the things that are not so great. But first, if you're new to the channel, make sure you check out the links in the description below for some awesome detailing gear that I use all the time for this car. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate it, and it really helps me out. But back to the video. So I was gonna originally title this 5 things I dislike about my Porsche 718 Spyder, but after thinking about it, I kind of realized there's not really anything that I don't like about the car. It's not that I dislike them, it's not that they're bad things. So I decided to change the video title to Quirks about the 718 Spyder, because if you're in the market for buying something like this, the things I'm gonna talk about, you already know about them going into, or you should, or it means you haven't done any research about the car itself. So they're not really bad things, except for the very last one. I'm gonna save the last one on this list. They're in no particular order, but the last one on this list is something that I think is bad about this car and I would change if I could, and I wish Porsche didn't put it on there at all to begin with. But with that, let's start with number 1. And coincidentally, it's one of my favorite things about the car actually. It's kind of interesting that I'm putting it on the Quirks list, but it's one of my favorite parts about the car. It's something that I paid a ton of money extra for, which is the manual seats. Now, this is a 718 Spyder, and for those of you unfamiliar with Porsche's line of 718 cars, the GT4 and the Spyder, and now the GT4 RS, are kind of the top trim levels. They cost the most money, they're the most performance, they're the most expensive, they're the most everything versions of the car. So you would think with paying more money, you get more stuff, and that's not exactly the case with this, because when you pay nearly $6,000 extra for these seats, which do look amazing by the way, they are manually sliding. Now, that's not such a huge deal. I mean, I'm not that big of a stickler for it. I don't mind sliding my own seat. And since I'm the only one who ever really drives the car, it's not a big deal, other than the fact that when you slide the seat forward into my driving position, there's not really enough room to get out of the car. So you have to manually slide the seat backwards in order to get out. So every time you get in the car, you have to scoot the seat back forward, which being manual means that it's never quite exactly where you left it or where you want it to be. So you're always having to build up that muscle memory to slide the seat back up right to where your best, most comfortable driving position is. Like I said, it's kind of a tiny quirk. I love the seats and I would definitely not trade them for the base seats that are electric, by the way. If you don't pay extra for seats, they are electric, but if you pay $6,000, Porsche will give you seats that have a manual slider on them, which is pretty awesome, right? Great marketing. Now, number 2 on this list is actually not a part of the car itself, it's this right here. This is the Porsche key that it comes with. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong about it. I actually bought these Amazon colored sides, which by the way, Porsche charges $120 if you buy the actual Porsche ones. I just got on Amazon because these things are gonna get scraped up in your pocket. Anyways, so why would I spend that much money when I spent $10 on these? I bought like 3 different colors of them. But the key itself, I don't really particularly like, because there's not actually like a metal key in here. It looks like a wireless, key fob, but it isn't. You still actually have to insert this into a slot on the dash and twist it like a normal key would be, but it isn't one. And it actually only goes in about this far, which means that it's just really awkward. It's weird. It's kind of like, this is like 2010 super awesome high-tech luxury car stuff, like from 2010. This would be fancy back then. Why not just give me a wireless remote with a push start? I don't know why. Don't get me wrong, I like having a physical key. I actually would prefer to have a cut key that you actually have to insert into an ignition mechanism and start. That's what I would like. It's just more fun that way. But this is just kind of weird. And since the buttons are on it when you try and insert it and stuff, and it's just not my favorite. It's one of those quirks that it seems like they're kind of stuck in the past a little bit and they haven't updated, but yeah, I wish they would fix this. And then number 3 is actually specific to the Spyder itself, and actually it's shared with the 911 Speedster, but it's the top. So you pay extra for the Spyder, but just like the seat that is manually sliding, the roof is entirely manually mechanical. There is no button to automatically lower and raise the roof, which means if it starts raining with you have the top down, you have to get out yourself and manually put the top up. Or if you want to put the top down, you have to pull off to the side of the road, get out of the car, unlatch the back, and then close it. It's not actually that big of a deal, and again, like I said, these are all things that I knew about going into the car when I bought it, so it's not something that would ever deter me from buying it, but it's one of those weird quirks that maybe a lot of people don't know about if you're not familiar with Porsche's range. It's kind of neat though, it kind of gives it an event. I don't daily drive this car, so I'm not putting the top up and down all the time. I kind of put it down, go do my thing and come back, or I just leave it up, or put it up, or drive a lot, then put the top up when I get where I'm going. And so it's never been an inconvenience, but it is interesting that it's just funny to me how like all of these Porsche options are, you pay a lot extra and you get less. It's hysterical. Of course I'm gonna buy it anyways, but still it's funny to think about. And then kind of going along with the roof, kind of continuing with that whole manual roof thing, another thing that is bizarre, but number 4 is the fact that you can't use the rear trunk while the top is up. It's because of how the top is designed. Two of these little pieces come and connect to the actual trunk lid, like physically connect to it, so you wouldn't be able to open it because the roof is connected to it. But it's just as a funny design feature to me, the fact that you can't unlatch parts of the roof to use the trunk. So basically, if the roof is up, the rear trunk is completely inaccessible. The only way to get to the trunk with the roof up is to half put the roof down. If you start the process to unlatch the roof, then it lets you unlock and open the trunk and then put it back, and then you have to relock the roof back down. It's a whole big thing. So you're not going to be using the rear trunk very often, but luckily since it's a mid-engine car, the Porsche 718 series, it has a really considerable sized front trunk, so I still use that. Again, since I don't do grocery shopping or anything in this car, that's not really an issue. But I think that that's funny, and it took me a while to figure that out. I'm like, why would this? I thought maybe my key fob was broken because, as you can tell with the top up right now, you cannot unlatch the rear trunk here. Nope, it unlocks the car, but it actually won't unlatch the rear deck lid. You have to put the roof halfway down. And then for number 5, this is the actual feature of the car that I hate. I don't just dislike it, I hate it. I wish it wasn't on this car, I wish it wasn't on any car. I know that they probably have to put this on there for some regulation purposes or things like that. I don't know why they put it on here, but the auto start stop feature on this car is extremely annoying. You have to disable it every single time you start the car, which I do. It's not that big of a process, you just push a button. But why is it on this car? I don't understand. I know that I'm sure Porsche has to do it for fuel economy regulation purposes or something like that, and I wish that it was disableable once and just stay off, but every time you start the car it re-enables it, so you have to hit the button to turn it back off. I wish it would just remember it. I'm sure there's a little module or dongle or something like that that you could pull apart the center console and like fix the switch to where it's always off, but I just don't want to do that because I shouldn't have to do that. It should just be off all the time. I don't need it. It's a manual car. I don't like the car shuts off. I'm sure that wears out the starter. I don't like them on any cars, whether it's an SUV, a family SUV, or this car, but I wish it wasn't on any car that I own, especially not this one. And I'm sure with that, this is probably gonna be a really quick video, but I just thought it'd be fun to talk about 5 of these weird quirks about the car that are not necessarily bad. They may be deal breakers for you, but they weren't for me. I thought they were kind of fun to talk about. Even as much as I dislike that auto start stop thing, it's something that I absolutely would put up with because this car is so good. It's that good. There's nothing about this car that would deter me from wanting to keep it. It's fantastic. And actually that's one of the reasons why I changed the name from saying that these are bad things about the car to Quirks, because nothing is perfect. These little imperfections and flaws give it character. That's part of the experience. Even though the roof is manual, it just makes it fun. It's something interesting to do. Like I said, I don't daily drive this car, or then those things might become a problem if you're using them all the time. But I only drive this car when I want to for fun, and so I'm willing to take those things into account, putting the roof down by hand and all that kind of stuff. It's something that I know about going into, and it just makes it part of the fun. The seat sliding back and forward, it's kind of a silly thing, but I got the muscle memory down now to where I can pretty much slide it exactly where I want every time I get in and out of it. The trunk space, like I said, it's irrelevant because I don't do grocery shopping, but I just wish that I could turn that stupid start-stop off and leave it off for good. But that's enough for this video now. Make sure you like and subscribe down below. Check out my channel for more videos just like this. I'm gonna be trying to make more content on the Porsche here soon. Leave your comments down below as well, and I will catch you guys in the next one.